USFCougars.com here with University of Sioux Falls Athletic Director Josh Snyder. Josh, it's been 5 years now that the University of Sioux Falls has been in Division II, and we've had a pattern of success across the program. Talk about where the program stands now and how you feel about the success of the program during that span of time.
Well, I think, Dan, it's been a fantastic move for us. We've continued to move up year after year after year. I don't think the program's ever been in a stronger place. Obviously, winning national championships at the NCAA level in football was fantastic, and we hope to get to that point here in Division II as well. But winning a regular season conference championship in football, advancing to the second round of the playoffs, and an eyelash away from the final 8. And then on top of it, women's basketball making 2 in a row conference tournament championships games and winning one of them. They're in a great spot to continue their success. I think when you and I were talking, we were going through the things and just looking across the board at all the programs who have winning records since we moved to Division II, and we're in great shape to continue to build that moving forward, and I couldn't be happier.
We've had numerous, academic awards. We've had over 250 student athletes make all academic, all NSIC. We've had 4 national champions, 5 total in track and field history, 4 in the Division II level, and 2 of them this year. That had to be a pretty prideful moment. And both athletes, Scott Greenman and Courtney Crandall, were named Athletes of the Year.
Yeah, it's hard not to have an Athlete of the Year when they win a national championship, right? The fact that we had other competition that would have been, under a normal circumstance, a fantastic Athlete of the Year as backups is speaks wonders. But yeah, having national champions in Courtney and Scott, following up Jager's national championship last year, following up Bridget Gross's national championships of a couple years before that. We've had 4 now in the Division II era. That's just phenomenal. And take that a step further. You were talking about academics. They come here to graduate. They come here to get an education, and athletics is a means towards that end for them. And we love the fact that our student athletes take pride in their athletic accomplishments, and we do too. But the fact is, they're here to be students and they're here to get an education. And so when you have hundreds of athletes every year that are achieving 3.0, 3.5, 4.0, making their mark academically, it's phenomenal. And we really are leaders on the campus and leaders in our conference. It's phenomenal.
You talk about that success rate, and over each of the last 2 years, USF has been one of the top 27 schools in the country in terms of graduation rates, over 90%. Only one other school in the league, even last year, over that 2-year span, has been there. That has to be another real talking point for you as an athletic director.
It really is. Anytime you can say you're in the top 20 or 25 in the country of 320-ish Division II institutions, I think you need to be pretty proud of that. And the fact that where we are in the top 20 nationally is, in our graduation rate, I think that's the #1 priority. That's the #1 thing. We can point to that and say, you come here and you will get a degree and you can go on and have a successful career. And while you're here, you'll have a great time as an athlete as well, and a great time as a student, and really enjoy the benefits of being in a tremendous city like Sioux Falls. So yeah, we're proud to be the University of Sioux Falls. We're proud to graduate our student athletes and have them continue their success in many cases in this area.
I think the university unquestionably was very proud of all of its accomplishments in the NAIA. We had many very fine student athletes go through the university that are proud alumni today, and alumni we're proud of. Really, when the time came to think about NCAA Division II, it was about institutional positioning, both in terms of the athletic arena and the field of competition, but also just for the institution as a whole, as we look to the future and our affiliation and how we are viewed by the external public and by those students who may be interested in attending an institution like USF.
Now, you made the move, but there was a lot of stuff that went into it. You had challenges, but at the same time you had opportunities. What were those things that you really had to get past to make the move?
Well, the largest, of course, was the first decision was to move in a somewhat radical way to NCAA Division II. And all that implied with a lot of questions from many individuals that were well-founded about whether we could compete at that level, whether we could successfully transition. And of course, no small task was finding conference affiliation, because the two of them almost had to fit together in order for us to be successful. And so it was really kind of a two-pronged challenge. One, to be able to get to the NCAA Division II at a time when there were a lot of schools in the NAIA actually looking for that same route. And then secondly, to find a conference that would allow us to come in and compete with them that of course was practical in terms of geography. So we got lucky on both those counts. The timing was right, and we had a conference looking to expand in the form of the Northern Sun that we're very proud and happy to be part of. And I think we also saw some great opportunity, especially in the state of Minnesota, to have a greater presence. And that has certainly proven true with some of our recruiting and admissions statistics.
Now, some of the natural alliances were part of that move up and joining the NSIC. Restarting a rivalry with Augustana was obviously a benefit for the university, and I believe for Augustana as well. And then there were some other area schools like Wayne State, and even Winona's not all that far than the Minnesota schools. As you look back on those days as the USF leadership made the transition, how do you feel about the move? And right now, what is your opinion on USF's success at D2?
Yeah. Well, I think, of course, the proof of success is in our ability to compete, and I think we've surely determined and showed that we can compete at this level. We've tried to do it inside the parameters of understanding that we also have to have support for the larger institution. I believe we've achieved that also. And when I look at the Northern Sun, what I see is with no disrespect made to the former conference and affiliation we had, but the Northern Sun is a very together group. And it's a unique combination of public and private institutions, Christian affiliation. But when we walk in a room together, we all have a common endeavor, and that is to make sure that we have a conference that we're proud of, that our student athletes in that priority order are an important component of our institutions, and we want to be proud of how those athletic programs contribute to our institutions. So there's a very strong feeling of commonality among the administrators in that room, and there's never a moment when the greater good is not being discussed. There's no selfish attitudes, and so we feel very fortunate and pleased to be part of that. And you mentioned Augustana. We have the greatest respect for our friends down the street to the south of us here, and I believe it's been a very healthy competition for both of our institutions that has also benefited the city of Sioux Falls.
One last thing. There is a certain amount of coup pride that's on this campus, and a lot of it's reflective in that move to Division II. Student athletes and students and faculty and the like all over campus. You get the feeling that they're proud to be in the affiliation they're in. Do you get that same sense?
Definitely. So one of my primary tasks, besides some of the public relations moves in that move to NCAA 2, was dealing with the internal information that was necessary with our faculty and our staff to make sure they understood what this move meant to the university, to make sure they understood potential implications. And I think we were very honest also about potential pitfalls, none of which have come true. Our faculty, by and away, believe that this is a great move for our university. The quality of students that we are getting is outstanding. And so we feel very, very good about those kinds of things that have been kind of a kickoff of the move to NCAA Division II.
You know, one of the things was when USF made this transition back in 2011 was a transition year, and then 5 years began in the NSIC and in Division II in 2012. Almost the very first game they played a nationally ranked team in football in St. Cloud State, and they ended up winning that game. 2 years previous to that, they had, a year previous to that, they had almost beaten North Dakota, a team nationally ranked that year, beat them on a last-second field goal. But in 2009, when all the talk was moving to Division II, they did beat North Dakota in North Dakota 28-13. So USF was ready to move up. How does that success, and that football success, has been bridged by all success across the programs?
Well, you know, the rising tide raises all ships, right? I think that's what we have to deal with here. We have a tremendous group of student athletes, high graduation rate, high academic success. You have a program as your flagship program in football that has won national championships at one level and proved that they can move to the Division II level and not miss a beat. And everyone else takes pride in that. All the student athletes take pride in that. All the coaches take pride in that. Our student body takes pride in that. And I think everyone wants to get to that level. And yes, we were all at different levels, and we've all seen different success levels since. But I think if you look at all of them, I can't point to any program that I think is on the downward trend. I think they're all on an upward trend. And it starts, you know, at square one. And we moved into Division II. We had success. We've beaten ranked teams. We won a conference championship in women's basketball and in football. We've been second in men's golf, second in track and field, second in cross country, in the top 10 nationally in cross country and in football. You know, we've had a lot of success, and you have other programs who maybe haven't had as much, but you can see it building. They're about ready to turn that corner and really break it open. And yeah, it's phenomenal. It's great.
3 top 20 finishes in track and field of a women's basketball team that has won, well, as you said, went to 2 consecutive conference tournament championships, had an NCAA berth. The football team has 2 consecutive NCAA berths. The men's basketball team has made it to 2 straight quarterfinals in the NSIC tournament, one of the deepest leagues in the country. And volleyball, again, they've been to 2 tournaments. You can go up and down and across the span, as you said. What makes you most proud? I mean, you're standing right, we're sitting right in front of something that says Coup Pride, which is really evident in this university, and the spirit is there. What to you is that 1 or 2 things that really stand out to you about the student athletes and the coaches and staff?
Well, I think that they have no fear, that they have strength and courage to go on that field or court and battle with the top teams in the country, and knowing that our school is a 10th their size, or a 15th their size, or a 20th their size. And in many cases, our operating budget is half or a fourth. I mean, we're competing with schools who, by all accounts, could and maybe even should be Division I in terms of their operating budget and the size of their institution. And here we are, you know, this little school, this little private liberal arts Christian school in Sioux Falls, South Dakota, competing with the biggest schools in the country, and not only holding our own, but having success. And I think that's just amazing. And it speaks to the coaches' work ethic when they go out and recruit. It speaks to our school that we can go and sell these kids who are being recruited by, in many cases, Division I schools. And on top of it, the teams that for the past several decades have been the best in our conference. And here we are 5 years in, competing with them toe-to-toe for the same kids and getting them on our campus. And once they're on our campus and they meet our faculty and they meet our other students, they're sold. And that is, to me, the thing I take the most pride in. It's our people. We do an amazing job.
Finally, they have this all-sports standings. The University of Sioux Falls in a 16-school league, one of the best leagues in the country, no doubt. We'll say the best league in the country across the board, especially. We finished as a university in the top 7 in each of the 5 years. That's quite an accomplishment. Culminate this interview on how you, what lies ahead for this program.
You know, here's the thing. We finished 6th the first 4 years. We finished 7th this year, and obviously you never want to go backwards. But I don't feel it as we went backwards, because in the year we finished 7th, we had a two top 10 programs nationally, and a conference champion. It's not a backward step. It's the fact that our conference is even getting better, and that's amazing. You still have the same couple schools at the top. That hasn't changed. The part that's changed is the middle and the end have risen. And the fact that, you know, we've been 6th is amazing. The fact that we're 7th is actually kind of amazing. But what's even better is the fact that the teams that were 9th and 10th and 11th and 12th, they're now fighting for 4th and 5th and 6th and 7th. And we have a great conference that is only getting better. And you know, we're making some changes in the conference that I think are going to continue to raise the level of this conference, raise the national profile. You know, we hold our own in a lot of the more public, higher profile sports, where maybe our conference lacks a little bit is in some of the, you know, more, I guess, Olympic sports, things like that, that schools maybe in Florida and the far south have a little advantage due to weather. But I think even in those sports, we're starting to really rise our level and compete. And I think you're going to see this conference just do some amazing things in the next 5 years. The first 5 for us have been phenomenal. The next 5 are going to be even better.